I asked 100 FPL experts for their Game Week 4 transfer moves, captains, and chip strategies, so you guys can follow along with the expert moves every single game week. Yes, now welcome to FPL Mate. My name is Dan. We are back with another 100 experts video so we can figure out what are the big managers doing in this very big season indeed. We've got 100 experts here, all with great rank histories, and we're going to have a look at some of the trends, what they are doing this week, how they are adapting their teams, and asking some of the key questions to help us make our moves, or maybe just give us more confidence in the moves that we're making to make sure we are at least semi-aligned with the best of the best managers. So yeah, massive shout out to these guys here. Of course, if you do want to join these expert managers in the private expert Discord server, you can join the channel as a member at the starting 11 tier or above. You will get access to this expert community, as well as many other benefits of joining the FPL Mate YouTube channel as a member, and it really helps support the content we put out here as well. So let's start off by looking at the transfers and chips. What are the experts doing? Well, I can tell you that 34 of our experts this game week are making one transfer, and we have 9% making 2 transfers. However, none of our experts this week are making 3 or more transfers, so maybe a little bit more caution with the transfers this week ahead of maybe a bit of mystery ahead of game week 4. We know that there is new transfers to the league, new players coming in to various Premier League teams, still some curiosity around the likes of Liverpool, Crystal Palace, and many other teams, Nottingham Forest with a new manager, so a little bit of patience maybe in order, but still requiring to fix any issues in the squads that maybe you guys have. Our experts maybe have some of those issues as well, and we're going to see what the average squad and the average rank of experts is kind of like later on in the video. We actually have 27% of our experts either on a wild card or a free hit, so huge surgery ahead of game week 4. These are really big numbers, so if you are on a free hit, you are on a wild card, then you are in good company here. You really are, and I've actually made both a wild card and a free hit video on this channel already for game week 4, so if you do want to check them out and get my opinion on what the best wildcard and free hit teams might look like, do feel free to go check them out after you finish this video, of course. And we've got 32% of our experts making no transfers at all this week, rolling it into the next week. But the majority of our experts will be making some kind of moves this week, whether that be transfers or a wildcard / free hit. Looking at those chips, we can see that 1%, just one expert is using the bench boost this week. So not a super popular week for the bench boost chip. We do have 3% on the triple captain this week, and yeah, I'll let you guess who that triple captain might be, but not too much talk around the triple captain this week, it has to be said, but maybe it is something to consider. 3% is a very small trend, but it's not nothing. You know, this is multiple experts activating their triple captain this week, so maybe something to consider. We'll go through captains, of course, later in the video as well. We see 16% of our experts on a free hit and 9% on a wild card, so it would seem that a planned free hit in game week 4 is more popular than a wild card, but a wild card might be necessary for you guys anyway. Before we look at the expert transfers, I always like to have a look and see what the comparison is like to the overall player base, and it has to be said there is not a huge amount of crossover between the players that the overall player base like and want to bring in this week and the players that the experts want to bring in this week. In fact, the most transferred in player among experts is not in the top 10 of the overall most popular transfers. So the experts have different ideas to the overall player base, which is good to see. It often spells opportunity. I love that, guys. Greenish is the #1 transfer in the overall player base, almost 1 million transfers in for him this game week. I'm sure that will go over 1 million by the deadline for game week 4. Some of our experts like the look of him. Same with Joao Pedro, same with Senesi. There's a little bit of interest, new transfers in for these players, and it's only really Semenyo from this list where the experts have a strong interest in ahead of game week 4. The rest of these players, Enzo, Isak, Ekatike, Gakpo, Gay, and Calafiori, no new transfers in for any of these players among experts. So that is Over half of the top 10 most popular transfers ahead of Game Week 4 are being ignored by our experts. And that tells us something. I don't know what it tells us, guys, but it tells us something. So if you are thinking of bringing these players in, just be aware that you might not necessarily be aligned with the experts. Of course, maybe if you're on a free hit, players like Ekitike, Gakpo, these are transfers you could consider. But for those straight up transfers, maybe not. We are going to cover Isak later in the video as well. I know I'm teasing a lot of things coming later in the video, but like the 100 expert videos, they really do cover a lot of stuff. That's why I love making these videos, because I learn so much and hopefully I can share that information with you guys. Let's take a look at the transfers out among the 100 experts this week. And we see a lot of transfers out for Saar, which is upsetting because he was actually one of the most popular transfers in last week among experts. But now, because of that injury, we have to wait for press conferences to get a definitive answer of how long he's going to be out for. But yeah, a lot of our experts are choosing to sell him this week. 15 transfers out, so almost half of the experts who own Saar will be selling him this week. We see 9 transfers out for Mark Gue. Now he is back at Chelsea, no longer a useful FPL asset. The Nottingham Forest defense is generally trending downwards among experts. 6 transfers out for him, a few transfers out for Esteve as well, a couple of transfers out for Watkins. But it has to be said, with players like Esteve and Watkins, they are so highly owned among experts, each of them only really seeing 3 transfers out each. The vast majority of experts will be keeping Esteve, will be keeping Watkins going into Game Week 4. So small amounts of transfers out, but really nothing too significant here. We also see Nori, Cunha, Palmer, Verts, and Wood with 2 transfers out each. Nothing hugely significant here. So it seems that Saar, Mark Gue, and maybe a Nico Williams. I think there was one person transferring out Murillo. We only show the top 10 on these in these videos to try and identify trends, but I also did see Murillo being sold among experts this week as well. So yeah, Forest defenders under Ange, maybe time to go, or at least maybe time to go fairly soon. Yeah, we'll talk about that later as well. No surprise there. So much to talk about still. But if you do appreciate these videos, guys, make sure you do drop a like and do subscribe if you want to follow along with the expert trends and advice every single game week. I gather all this data to try and help you guys out. And yeah, any love is massively appreciated on these videos that, you know, I love to. Transfers in. Okay, Mateta. Jean-Philippe Mateta, JPM. 12 transfers in. He was only owned by 10% of our experts last game week, so his ownership will double among these engaged managers ahead of the new game week, and that's no surprise given the fixture against Sunderland. It is very nice for penalty-taking Mateta. We also see a lot of interest for Semenyo. 8 new transfers in for him, and Daniel Munoz is the 3rd most popular guy. 6 new transfers in for him. He will see a 50% increase in his ownership ahead of Game Week 4. A few other players with a little bit of interest. We've got Grealish, Lacroix, each with 4 transfers in. Kudus and Paqueta with 3 each. Paqueta's interesting because he wasn't owned by any of our experts last game week, and 3 new managers will have him. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the wild carders will be bringing him in as well. Guys, I don't track the wild cards and free hits for the purpose of this video, so the data is not always 100%, you know, accurate of reality, but it's more about trying to give those indications, particularly when making free transfers and maybe taking hits, rather than those chips, which are maybe a slightly separate thing to what we're kind of trying to do with these videos. But yeah, Paqueta, interesting. Joao Pedro continues his upward trajectory in ownership. Couple of new transfers for him every single week among experts. And Senesi and Jai also bottom of this list, but still maybe a little bit interesting as well. And that brings us to the template. What is the typical expert team looking like right now? Well, it kind of looks like this. No real change for Dubravka, Sanchez, Pedro Porro, and yeah, not really too much change for Esteve either, to be honest. But we do see a drop on Nico Williams this game week. So yeah, we might see the Forest defenders drop out of the template within the next couple of weeks, I imagine, maybe by game week 7. Van der Ven is still clinging on, as is Anderson at 32% owned among experts. Not really too much change in midfield. Salah, Reinders, Bruno, and Rogers secure in the expert template. And Florian Wirtz is now in the template, even though he has lost ownership. It's because Ismaila Sarr lost even more ownership, bringing Wirtz into the fold as a part of the template. Now, small drop for Watkins, small increase for Joao Pedro and Chris Wood down to 41%. I think he will be replaced in the typical template before too long as well. So this is what your typical expert squad is looking like right now. Let me know how many of these players you have in your squad right now. And the average Game Week 3 score, 51.5 points among experts. Did you beat them in Game Week 3 or not? Let me know. And the average current rank is now up to 3.3 million. So green arrows for the experts in Game Week 3. And yeah, this is going to continue throughout the season. Like, I know people, every time we post these videos, people say, oh, I can't believe the experts average rank is so low. How could that be possible? Happens at the start of every season, guys. I've been making these videos for a very long time. It starts, you know, maybe a little average, a little low, but the point of the experts is that over a long period of time, they will always succeed and the cream will always rise to the top. So follow along and you will be able to trust the process just like I do. Of course, we do have 10% of our experts now in the top 1 million. So that number has also increased from last week. And we will see the percentage of experts in the top 1 million increase after each game week. Maybe we'll start seeing the odd top 100k or top 10k manager soon as well. But yeah, it's a slow process. We got to be patient. So based on the expert data, we can make a couple of transfer suggestions. If you do have money in the bank, Mark Gu to Mateta looks like a pretty obvious transfer to make, judging by the transfer trends that we are seeing. Watkins to Mateta is maybe an option as well if you are fed up of Watkins. If you do have Sarr in your team, you're worried about his injury, Semenyo, Grealish and Paqueta look like the most likely replacements according to the expert data. And if you're looking for a new defender, maybe you want to replace Williams or Murillo or Milenkovic or Aina, I don't know, then maybe Munoz is your guy. Small shout out to Lacroix as well. Both Crystal Palace defenders look really nice ahead of the new game week, so definitely options for you guys. Captaincy is really straightforward this week, guys. So yeah, for the first time in a couple of weeks now, we are seeing a really clear captain decision, and it is on Mo Salah against Burnley. Despite the poor form, a much easier fixture is hopefully going to spell better results for Mr. Mo Salah. He is being captained by 87% of our experts this week, and only 84 of our experts own him. How is that possible? Well, free hitters and wildcarders are not counted in the ownership numbers. We have to wait for the next week to get the data on the wildcarders, for example. It's just too difficult to track, guys. But what we can basically kind of gather from this is that a lot of our wildcarders and free hitters are wildcarding and free hitting Salah in and then captaining him. So 104% captaincy selection. What that should probably tell us, guys, is that Salah is a really important captain. Even those without Salah are making efforts to bring him in so they can captain him. That's what we can kind of gather from that. Of course, the 3 triple captainers this week are also triple captaining Salah this week against Burnley. Hey, come on, guys. It is the best FPL asset of all time against a team really struggling so far, conceding a lot of chances this season. It makes sense as a triple captain option, at least, even if it isn't, you know, the banker, then maybe it is an option. We do have some other options here as well, though, guys. Haaland, 8 captains out of 21 owners. That's 38%. Ekatike, 2 captaincies. Same with Gakpo. So 2 experts are captaining Ekatike, 2 are captaining Gakpo. And we also see 1 expert captaining Mateta as well out of his 22 owners, but that is only 5% of his owners ahead of Game Week 4 will be captaining Mateta. So pretty low really here. We're looking at Salah here. We may be looking at Haaland here. We may be looking at Ekatike and Gakpo if you really want to push the boat out. But look, guys, if we're following along with the expert trends, it's Salah captain time, not triple captain time, because the trends I don't think are strong enough. But yeah, it's captain time for Mo Salah, but we're not done yet, guys. There are more questions to be answered. So here are our bonus questions. These questions are asked in the FPL Expert Discord server every single week to see if we can get some kind of miscellaneous answers for you guys. So the first question I asked our experts in the private chat was, now that Ange Postecoglou has been confirmed as the Nottingham Forest manager, what will you do with Nottingham Forest defenders? We see 9% of our experts are going to sell them immediately or between game week 4 and 6. So very, very soon, in very the near future. We see 77% selling after the good fixtures. So Forest's fixtures start getting quite bad from game week 7. compared to the immediate term. So yeah, it does make a lot of sense to wait until the good fixes are out the way before selling Forest defenders, and that is what the vast majority of our experts are planning to do. 9% are planning to sell them later, but kind of low priority, not really thinking about it, and 5% are keeping these Nottingham Forest defenders and not planning on selling them at all, really. Still waiting to find out what happens next. So yeah, if you've got Forest defenders, probably worth keeping for now, according to this, and maybe selling after Game Week 7 after the fixes turn bad. And then Alexander Isak. This is the moment that all of the early Isak adopters will maybe be a little disappointed by. So the question was, when do you think Alexander Isak will get his first start for Liverpool? 0% said Game Week 4. So no expert is predicting Isak to start in Game Week 4. Crazy stuff. We see 38% predicting he will start in Game Week 5, and that will be his first start. But it's actually Game Week 6 that is the most popular. So a lot of experts predicting that Isak will not start this game week. He will not start the next game week, but maybe Game Week 6 is going to be his first start. That is the popular answer here. But we do also have Game Week 7 / after the next international break at 14%. So there are still a percentage of FPL experts who are not predicting Isak to start for, quite some time still, like a little bit longer. And, we could be waiting a fair amount of time, fair amount of weeks before Isak gets that first start for Liverpool. So yeah, there you go, guys. Those are those final bonus questions that we've hopefully got some really, really useful answers for. But yeah, that is all of the expert data, all of the information I found out for you guys this week. If you did find it useful, please do drop a like. It really does help out the channel so much. And feel free to subscribe as well if you, again, want to follow along with these expert tips every single game week. I find these videos the most useful of all of the videos I make, and hopefully a few of you guys find the same thing. But until tomorrow's video, thank you so much for watching. Check out another one if you would like to, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.